So one of my favorite things when we were first off, when we like we said when we first saw your page, it was ED memes and books on erectile dysfunction. I was like, we got to talk to her. She gets it. She's someone that gets what we're trying to do here. And so we're looking up, and there was an article I found, and I thought this was the best quote. You were quoted in the American College of Healthcare Sciences. This is back in March, saying, "quote I want to be so blunt and honest about hormones, erectile dysfunction, menopause, things people are afraid to talk about, but it's life and it happens." And if there was ever a quote as to why Patrick and I started this channel, that's it right there.
100%.
So we asked, why are these so important to you, and what do you hope to accomplish by being so direct, as you say? Because we want to break stigmas, and what do you hope to accomplish by it?
I get really tired of everyone being so secretive about it. Through the years of having a business, and even now, my husband and I have a few personal training clients, and all the men always feel super comfortable about talking to me. And I'm an open book about it. Like I tell them about my personal experience with it. And, I don't think it's something that we should just, be quiet about. I think it's something that, hey, it's life and it happens, and there's no shame in it. Like, let's just fix it. Let's figure out what's going on and let's move on with it. Because as being married, and I've been married 20 years, and for the record, my husband is good, because he's going to be like, babe. But no, for the record, it's all great. But, there comes a time that you do start having issues, whether age is a factor or diet is a factor. And, my husband even says to this day that he can tell a difference with his energy levels when he's eating a lot of vegetables and when he's not, and he like sexual health, everything. So we live in a city that predominantly is an older retirement community, and a lot of men suffer with that. And I see a lot of people really trying to hang on to their youth, hanging on to their sex life, and sex is important, and we want to hang on to that as long as we can. So, with erectile dysfunction, I really, after really learning in my research that it is the baseline of a man's sexual health, that like that's our number one key. And that's like one of my main focuses going into my medical residency, is focused on hormones and getting people back feeling good again. And, having the energy that they once had. I'm not saying you're going to have the energy that you had when you were 20, but there's no reason that you cannot feel good and have a very healthy sex life well into your 70s and 80s.
Yeah, that's interesting. Steven's, it's probably taken him a little bit of time to kind of get used to me, and just like how out front and forward I am about these things. And I personally attribute it, like, my mom is an artist, and for a certain time while she was in grad school, I was going to grad school with her, and I was a kid. I mean, I saw nude models. I was exposed to a lot of stuff, even though like they tried to hide me and say, go sit in the corner and don't look. But I mean, what are you going to do when you're a kid? You're going to look. Right. But I have just been exposed to all this so much that it's really like, it's no big deal to talk about these things. And so, I mean, Steven's probably so annoyed sometimes because I'm like, prostate this, prostate that, ED this, penis this, here and there. It's just like, I'm all over the place, but it's so important. And part of breaking a stigma is like, if one person's free to talk about it, if I can free up another person to just go to their doctor or go somewhere and say, oh, I'm having this problem, and be okay with it, that really falls in line with your quote. I mean, it is life. It does happen, and it needs to be discussed.
I wholeheartedly agree. And I'm very much an open book when it comes to that. And I think that's why a lot of men feel comfortable talking to me. And, it is a fine line, and I have to be careful, because I don't ever want men feeling like that they can, and I've had a few clients talk to me about erectile dysfunction, but in a more vulgar way that I really did not want to go in that direction. Yeah. So there is a line that, has to be drawn, but it is a subject that I am very open to talk about. And I do want to make it a specialty. And that's why I decided to publish my research and publish my next book with it, because I think that there's a lot of information out there are, there really is more information than I anticipated. When I went to do my research, there was a lot of information on erectile dysfunction and plant-based diets that people aren't recognizing, or maybe they're just wanting the quick fix and not realizing that there is other underlying major health conditions going on with them. So I just think it's a very important topic that needs to be addressed.
So, I mean, you say that you're an open book and you have a new book on erectile dysfunction. Is there any additional insight, without giving away too much because we want you to get your sales? Is there any additional insight that you could give us? Maybe, like you say, plant-based diet. Stephen and I, it's something Stephen and I are very familiar with, but maybe our viewers are new to that, or just anything you'd be willing to divulge.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, like a lot in my research was just how plant-based diet can actually reverse. What the plants do is actually, it helps reverse cardiovascular damage. So as you're eating the processed foods and you're having the plaque that clogs the arteries, is clogging arteries that's affecting the blood flow to your penis. I mean, it's that plain and simple. So we have to unclog the arteries. So by just incorporating more vegetables, and I'm not saying that, you know, in the research, you don't have to be 100% plant-based, but if you can be 85%, it will ultimately affect your sex life. It really will. And then even including things, I'm all about supplementation as well, but have you guys researched on boron at all? Boron actually helps prostate and supports your free testosterone. And my husband and I both have started it because I had a full hysterectomy when I was 23. So I've been, of course, testosterone deficiency and estrogen and progesterone for almost 20 years. So I'm all about supplementation. And I was doing bioidenticals for a long time, but then when I decided to go into my studies with hormone balancing, I want to walk the walk. Whatever I talk, I want to say, okay, I'm doing it as well. So I don't want to be on bioidenticals. And so I'm always researching supplements that can support free testosterone. And boron is actually, it really is like the #1 free testosterone supporter.
Shortly after we post this video, we're going to have some research on boron and all of this you're talking about, because I never knew that. Are they given as tablets or?
Yes, it's tablets. So under 10 milligrams a day. I'm doing 3 milligrams myself, okay, which I have most of my women clients on now. And my husband and a few of my male clients, they're on 6 to 10 milligrams a day.
Man, that's interesting. I never heard that.
And then, of course, like saw palmetto, it's great for prostate health. I'm sure you guys know that.
Yep.
So, you know, I mean, anything that can support free testosterone. DHEA is another one that I like to use. I like to keep my women on about 5 milligrams a day. And then the men, I have between 25 and 50 milligrams a day. Have you guys done anything with DHEA?
No, I don't.
No, not really. I love doing these interviews. We learn so much.
And maca, that's my other one. So DHEA, boron, and maca, those are like those are my 3 favorites.
That's the trifecta.
It really is. It really is. So there, Patrick, you just ruined all my sales.
We just wanted the back summary of the book. That was it.
I know I'm going to be up till like 2 or 3 o'clock tonight, like
looking that up.
Research on all this stuff. This is so interesting.
I really like to, and something that probably my weakness is in would be like the herbs. So like saw palmetto, like I really just learned about it, and it's a lot in your area as well as mine. I didn't really know that much about it. Like we know supplements, like things that we've taken, you know, like through the years, it's mixed into other things. But like breaking it down and like really learning like the different herbs and what they can do for you, there's some great things. Like Yohimbine, I mean, I did that when I was competing, but it's another great one for blood flow that you have to use with caution. So if you guys haven't ever checked out Yohimbine.
Yeah, it was vaguely mentioned briefly our first year, but saw palmetto is one of those herbals that actually has some pretty decent research behind it for BPH. But so we can tell by your Instagram content that you're all for ED, your book's coming out. We say it all the time, the prognosis for ED, but being a resident in functional medicine, can you give the viewers your take on not just what ED is, but what ED may lead to, and what are some of the warning signs that you've come across in your studies?
Across all my research, and I probably have 3 pages of references from my research, from my dissertation, and uniformly across all of them, it just said it's an underlying issue. 99% of the time, it's an underlying issue of a major condition such as cardiovascular disease. Even like psychogenic, have you guys researched psychogenic erectile dysfunction or psychogenic impotence? So I think psychogenic kind of falls right in line. Like, when a man starts experiencing erectile dysfunction and he doesn't understand what it is, and erectile dysfunction is not being able to keep an erection. Okay. So there's, the impotence it can lead to impotence if it's not, fixed. So pretty much, it's going to be an underlying condition. And a lot of them won't know that, and they won't know that they need to go get a calcium scan of their heart done, or an ultrasound, or a stress test. And it usually becomes psychogenic impotency or psychogenic erectile dysfunction because it starts mentally messing with them, which can lead to a whole nother realm of issues. So once it goes into that, then you're just fighting a vicious cycle. And literally, if you are having any type of erection issues, you should go to the doctor, and you should have a baseline study done. You should have your blood work done. You should have a stress test done, and you should be, your A1C should be checked to make sure that diabetes is not an underlying cause. Those are really the 2. I mean, there's a lot of other issues that it could be, but those are the 2, 99% of the time. That's what the research study says, is cardiovascular, diabetes.
Yeah. That's something we try to advocate for. Don't diagnose yourself.
No.
The doctors are there because this is what they do. They're literally waiting for you to come with these problems because they know what it is. So our biggest message to our viewers, to audience, to your loved ones, diagnosing yourself with things like this is not the answer. You heard it here. Always, always, always communicate. And support your loved ones who are going through this, because it's not easy for them. Because we talk about cardiovascular issue, we talk about the psychology behind it. It stems into the family life. It stems into your social well-being, how you handle yourself. This is
everything.
It's a top-down approach. Once that goes, it's a symbol of your manhood, obviously. And you as a man may start to just deteriorate after. So the power of communication and just being aware and educated in this cannot be overstated. So we really appreciate you going into depth, because that's complicated. It's a complicated thing. There's no reason a man should know all the nuances of ED, but the warning signs.
I think too, like one of the biggest things that I've noticed, like with patients and with our clients, is with erectile dysfunction, so many men just dismiss it. So that's why I'm like adamant about, like, listen, if you are not able to hold an erection, that is the first signs of erectile dysfunction. So don't dismiss it and say, oh, this is excuse, or this was excuse, or maybe I drank too much, and sometimes that does happen, but you be in tune with your body and pay attention. And if you start having issues, go get checked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we really can't emphasize that enough. Just out of your research, are there any choices that guys can make? I know a little bit about diet and a little bit about lifestyle, but are there any choices guys can make outside of that can really reduce their chance or help with some of the warning signs of ED?
Stop smoking if you're smoking. Less alcohol is always good, because the sugar, it kills the blood vessels. Movement is key. And one thing that I did learn is, and I have a lot of cyclist friends, and so I want to question everyone now that I know that is like a cyclist. I'm like, I want to ask them a question. I don't know if it's appropriate though, but I do want to ask them if they're having issues in research. But cyclists have a lot of issues because it cuts off blood flow being on the seat for so long. So, you know, anything that you can do as far as movement, not smoking, lifestyle factors, cut down on your drinking, incorporate more vegetables, increase your fiber, see your doctor on a regular basis. And that's, I mean, those are really, it's just lifestyle factors. And it's keeping yourself in check, and it's going to make sure that you have a good quality of life.
Yeah, it seems like it makes so much sense, but it's just things people don't want to do sometimes. It may seem so extreme to take those approaches, but you say it like that, and it seems almost too easy to help manage ED. You know, if your manhood is at stake, gentlemen, respect your prostate, respect erectile dysfunction, respect the signs that are being given to you. You're blessed to have the diagnosis. You're blessed to be given the warning signs. Do something about it. This is all about taking action and communication.
Absolutely.